Hey Yogi Warriors, how's it going? Emily Warrior here. Today I have for you a nice standing yoga sequence. So we'll move through the sequence a couple of rounds on both sides and just give the full body a really good stretch and just kind of get our yoga practice in for the day with this nice simple video. So when you're ready, come and join me on your mat. And we'll begin with just a couple of rounds of half sun salutations just to kind of get the energy going. So just standing with the toes together. We're standing nice and tall through the body, so we're pulling the kneecaps up to engage the quads. From the hip bones, we're lifting them up and pulling the ribs and sternum in. So then the tailbone starts to tuck down. Roll the shoulders down the back. Slight tuck in the chin, Tadasana, or mountain pose. As we inhale, reach the arms out and up. Nice tall standing stretch. Exhale from the hips. Dive forwards into a forward fold. We can generously bend the knees here. Bring your gaze towards the knees. Inhale, lengthen through the legs. Either bring the fingertips to the mat, palms to the shins or thighs. So we create a nice flat back and a half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, reaching the arms out and up, coming all the way back into standing. Exhale, hands come down in prayer. Beautiful. 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, reaching the arms out and up. Exhale, diving into your forward fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen to your half lift. Exhale, bend the knees again, forward fold. Inhale, reaching the arms back out and up. Exhale, hands come down in prayer. 1 more time, deep breath in. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, reaching the arms out and up. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Inhale, lengthen to your half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reaching the arms back out and up. Exhale, hands come down in prayer. Beautiful. So hopefully now we're feeling a little bit warmer in the body. With our right foot at the top of the mat, we'll step back the left foot, a nice wide stance. And the hips come in line with the top of the mat here, the short side of the mat. And that heel, the back heel comes down to the mat, the foot's in a little bit of an angle. If we struggle to square the hips here with the heel down, we can always come up onto the balls of the back foot instead. So just finding your comfortable stance here so that we're nice and steady. We have a bend in the front knee, and we can inhale, reach the arms up into our warrior one. Beautiful. Nice deep breaths. Relax the shoulders down and pull the belly and ribs in so that we're not rounding in that back. Pull the belly in. Nice and strong. Deep Ujjayi breath. One more breath. Exhale, open it up to your warrior two, so the hips come in line with the long side of the mat. The back foot comes in line with the short side of the mat. Arms come in line with the shoulders. And we can gaze at the middle finger of your right hand. Warrior two. We still have a nice bend in this front knee here, building strength in the leg. Remember your deep Ujjayi breath where we restrict that muscle in the throat. Creates that nice soothing, warm sensation in the body. One more breath. On your inhale, lengthen through the front leg. Reach over the hip. Exhale, come down into your triangle. So this right hand comes down to the inside of the leg. We can always rest the hand on the shin. Or if we have any blocks today, we can always grab hold of a block to rest the palm on instead. So just finding your triangle, what feels good for you here. And we can gaze up towards the top hand. Feeling that nice stretch in the front of the leg here, in the back of this leg. One more breath. Exhale, using the core, come all the way back up to your center. We can release the arms down and turn those top toes into the long side of the mat. So we come to a nice wide stance. Hands on the hips. Inhale. Exhale, hinging from the hips. We'll fold forwards into a wide forward fold. And we can bring the hands to rest on the ankles or the shins again. Or maybe we bring the palms or fingers down to the mat. Wherever we like to rest the hands here, we can draw the crown of the head down to the mat. We can always rest our hands on some blocks here if we can't quite bring the hands down. That's okay. Use your equipment if you have any. And some nice deep breaths again. We can have a little micro bend in the knees here. One more breath. On your inhale, bring the hands to the hips. Exhale, coming all the way back up to standing. We can turn the top toes back to the top of the mat. So our right toes come to face the top of the mat. We can step back this back foot in a little bit. So we have about 3 paces between the feet. Squaring the hips to the top of our mat again. Inhale, take a nice deep breath in, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, we can fold forwards. Bring the body parallel to the floor, and we can bring the hands down to, maybe the fingers come down to the mat. If we have blocks, we can rest the hands on our blocks again for our pyramid pose. So whether we're using blocks, we can play around with the height, or whether the fingers come down to the mat. We want to try and maintain a nice lengthening in the spine. So if we found we're rounding in the spine here, we can always bring the arms behind the back and hold onto the forearms instead, and we can just lift the torso up a little so that we can then lengthen through that spine. So wherever we are in our pyramid, nice beautiful deep breaths. And we're pulling this left hip forwards. Keep actively squaring the hips. If this left hip feels like it's pulling back, we can try and just pull that left hip forwards. The right hip, the right thigh bone pulls back into its socket. One more breath. On your exhale, bend into that right knee and plant the palms into the mat. Step it back to a plank. Take a breath in. Exhale, bring the knees, chest and chin to the mat, or chaturanga. Lowering yourself down with control. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And just take a moment here to paddle the feet and stretch the legs. One more breath. On your next inhale, look between the hands and lift up the left foot. Step it between the hands and drop the back heel down. Inhale, come all the way up to your warrior one. So whether we're on the balls of the back foot to square the hips to the top of the mat, or maybe we can start to actively reach that heel down. Nice deep breaths. I'm just swiveling around so you guys can see. We have a nice bend in that front knee, and the belly and ribs are pulling in. One more breath. Exhale, open it up to your warrior two. The hips come in line with the long side of the mat. Arms come in line with the shoulders. And we gaze at the middle finger on the left hand this time. We still have that nice bend in the front knee. Feeling those quads burning. Nice deep Ujjayi breath. One more breath. On your next inhale, lengthen through that front leg, reach over the hip, and exhale, come down into your triangle. Again, we can rest that left hand on the shin or the ankle. Maybe the fingers come to the inside of the leg, or we can use our blocks. Whatever we like here. Finding your variation of triangle here. Everybody's body looks different in the asanas that we practice, so don't worry if your body doesn't look like mine. That's perfectly fine. It shouldn't look like mine. Your yoga is unique to you. And we don't want to look like anybody else either. Appreciate how your body looks in each asana you practice. One more breath. On your exhale, coming back up to your center, we can release the arms down. Turn the left toes back into the long side of your mat. And we'll come into another variation of our wide forward fold. So taking the hands behind the back, we'll interlace the fingers and just open up the chest, roll the shoulders back and draw the elbows towards each other. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, hinging from the hips, fold forwards, back into your wide forward fold. And maybe we can let gravity do the work and let the arms fall down towards the back of the head. So not only do we have a nice stretch in the insides of the legs, we have a nice chest and shoulder opener here too. And we can have a bend in the elbows. Don't feel like we have to be lengthened in the arms. Just tuning into your body. Keep drawing the crown of the head down to the mat. One more breath. On your exhale, using the core, come all the way back up to standing. We can release those arms, maybe shake them out. Beautiful. Turn those left toes to the top of your mat again, and we'll step back this right foot a few paces. And we can square the hips to the top of our mat again, finding our way back into our pyramid. So whether we like to hold on to the forearms behind the back, or we can inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forwards, bringing the body parallel to the ground. And then we can bring the arms down to our blocks. We can rest the hands on our blocks, or maybe the fingers come down to the mats. And this back foot is in a little bit of an angle as well here, just to help square that right hip this time to the top of the mat. The left hip pulls back into its socket. Beautiful. Deep breaths. We can have a softening in that left knee. One more breath. Exhale, bend into your left knee and plant the palms into the mat. Step it back to your plank again. Inhale. Exhale, knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga. Lowering yourself down slowly with control. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a moment to paddle the feet and stretch the legs, release all that work we've just done today in the legs. One more breath. On your exhale, gently bend the knees and bring them down to the mat. Untug the toes and just take it back to a child's pose. If child's pose isn't that comfortable for you, you can always take this on the back instead and bring the knees into your chest. I can't quite get my words out today. Anyway, coming back into our child's pose, finding what variation feels good for you. You can take your child's however you like here. And just take a moment to connect with your breath. Let the mind settle, let the breath settle. Just taking a moment here to be still before we carry on with our day. One more breath. On your next inhale, slowly finding your way back to sit. So you can just help yourself come back up, whether you like to sit on the knees or with the legs crossed. Beautiful practice today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that little flow. If you did, please save for later. You can come back to this one time and time again. And maybe leave me a comment below and subscribe to my channel for more free yoga content. Thanks again for joining me. I hope to see you next time. Namaste.